Welcome everyone to Grow with GoGo. Today is our first functional fitness class, and we are so happy that you're here, and we're going to get a chance to move our bodies, meet new people, set new goals. So thank you for joining us. This is something that GoGo is going to be doing weekly now. So every Wednesday, we're offering Wednesday workouts to our GoGo members. Last week, some of you might have joined us for our chair yoga class. This week is functional fitness. And we're going to keep alternating every Wednesday. So I'm hoping that we're going to get to see you all often. And so just a brief reminder, you probably found GoGo because you were looking for something specific. Might have been rides, that's our most popular service, but we also offer meals and grocery delivery, also prescription delivery, and even home services. So if you have some things around the house that you need a little help with, everything from someone to help clean your gutters to changing out a light bulb, GoGo can help you with those things too. But then we also decided we wanted to branch out and offer you some things to give you something to look forward to on your schedule, something that's just included with your membership, and something a little social and fun. So we've started these workouts, and we have like a GoGo workout sheet. If you want to take a look, we've just put it in the chat. It's also in your email. But sometimes it's nice to put some things down on paper about your goals and what you're hoping to get out of a class or out of a new season. For our agenda, we're going to talk about some items that you might use around the house to help you today with your functional fitness class. We're going to get into the class. There's going to be a fun move of the week. And if you remember the move of the week over week, there's a prize of like $10 in GoGo credits. And then we'll have some time to reflect. So I'm Cassie. I am GoGo's communications director, and I'm joined today by Adra, who's a yoga teacher and occupational therapist, and she's helping us today with functional fitness. So very happy to have her. Thank you for joining, Adra. I'm going to kick it over to you.
Great. I already see in the chat, Lydia, you're remembering the rotating of the head, but you have to remember that for next week. So we'll be remembering yoga for the yoga move for the yoga week, and then the functional fitness move for the functional fitness week. So keep that in your mind. Great job though, remembering.
Yeah, good job, Lydia.
So keep it in mind for next week. So things we need either some light weights or water bottles or cans. You also don't need to have weights. They're just helpful if you want a little extra challenge. So you can go ahead and grab those if you'd like. And then I may have sped up. If I didn't introduce myself, I'm Adra. Welcome to class. So happy to see you. Happy to see some new people. I love that your videos are off so I can scroll through and see everyone. I'm happy to see some returning members. Also, having a chair would be great, or a space on the wall for some balance, but we will be sitting. So ideally, a stable chair. If not, a rolly chair or a couch is fine. This class should be safe for your body. So if anything doesn't feel good, please skip it, modify, take breaks, listen to your body. You know what's best for you way better than I do. And so just listening to where you are and don't overdo it. And then let's get going. So let's start actually seated today. You'll go ahead and scoot yourself forward towards the front of your chair. So you have some space behind you, so you're not leaning back into your backrest. Planting your feet down into the ground. And just begin by taking some big circles here with your torso. So waking up the body, noticing how your torso is feeling, any pops, cracks, snaps. You can move the shoulders around. And then circle the other direction if you haven't already switched. And then coming to center. So today we're going to focus a lot on something called hip flexion. So that's this movement of our hip hinging. So it's either the leg bone moving towards our chest or our chest moving towards the leg bone. So that's a lot of focus today. So what I want you to do first is with your feet planted, is hinge forward, keeping your spine flat. So try not to round your back. Hinge forward with a flat back and just see how far you can go. So notice, where do you get sort of stopped? Does anything get sticky? Or at what point does your back want to round to help you get further down? Let's just do that a few times. You're hinging forward. How far can I go? Right, so it's almost like you're reaching for your socks or your shoes. How far can you go without bending your back? Okay, so that's our test. That's where you're starting today. And now we're going to check how far our leg can go towards our chest without changing the shape of the spine. So the spine's going to stay exactly the same. How high can you lift your leg? So you're going to march. Can you march without doing this? So see what my body is doing here, this rounding? We're not trying to move the spine yet. We're trying to keep that spine still as we march. So we're just seeing, okay, how far can my leg go towards my torso? And you might lift one leg and pause and just see, okay, what is the height that the leg can go without changing the shape of my spine or my pelvis? And then check the other side, lift and hold. So we're just figuring out, where are we starting this class from to see if there's any difference. The other thing I want you to notice, go a few more times alternating, is do you go straight forward or are you bringing your leg out to the side to lift up? So sometimes if we are stuck in this front plane, we kind of go out. So just noticing, okay, am I going out or can I go straight forward? Okay. So that's our starting baseline. We'll check it again at the end of class. So let's go ahead and stretch your right leg forward in front of you. I know it's a little hard with the lighting in my room, but straight right leg, and go ahead and point and flex your foot a few times. So you're just moving through your ankle, waking up the ankle. We're just warming up before we start to increase any intensity. Noticing any snaps or cracks. Just pointing and flexing the foot. And then we'll switch legs. So bringing that leg back, other leg comes forward. Again, point and flex. All right, and then letting that go. Let's rebend that right knee. Grab a hold of the knee or the shin to pull the leg up. So we're lifting the leg. I'm just going to be moving sideways and then back forward. You don't need to change your position. It's just so you can see a little better. We're going to lift the leg up and then circle your ankle. So rotating here, seeing if you can really keep the knee still and that you're really rotating at the ankle and not moving that thigh or knee. And rotate the other direction. And then relaxing that leg, and we'll switch. So grabbing a hold of your other knee or shin, bringing the leg up to whatever height feels good, and then circling your ankle. Really waking up the lower leg, ankle, big circles, noticing any pops and cracks, noticing where you might get a little bit stuck. And then the other direction. All right, and then releasing that leg down. And then let's do some heel lifts. So both feet are down, toes stay on the earth, and we're lifting the heels and lowering the heels. So continuing now to feel, moving up the chain. We warmed up those ankles. Now we're feeling something in the calves and the ankles. All right, letting those heels come down. Now we're going to straighten the legs one at a time. Notice, does your spine change position here as you're straightening? Can you keep your torso straight up and down as you straighten and bend? Notice if your leg starts to drop when you straighten. Can you keep your thighs parallel to the earth as you lift the lower leg? So here we're getting those quads to wake up, so the front of the thigh to wake up. Couple more times. Okay, now we're going to move our spine with our hips. So spine, chest is going to come forward. So we're arching that spine, lifting the chest, and then rounding the back, dropping your chin, stretching your back. We'll do this with a little breathing. So you'll inhale, lift your chest, arching the back, maybe looking towards the ceiling. Your tail is reaching towards the wall behind you. And then exhale, you're tucking your tail under, dropping your chin, rounding your back. Inhale, stretch the front of the body. And exhale, stretch the back body. A couple more times. You're really noticing here that your hips can move, but also you're feeling that movement in the spine, into the shoulders, into the head, that you're really getting a lot of parts of the body involved here. And then go ahead and find center, sitting nice and tall. Now we're going to move just at the hips. So by that, I mean our pelvis, this bone that where we put our hands, if we go, oh, I'm putting my hands on my hips, you're usually putting your hands on your pelvis, not on your waist, but on your pelvis. That is going to move over your leg bones. So spine's going to stay the same. You'll lean forward as far as you can go without rounding the back. And then lean back as far as you can go without arching the spine. So leaning forward and back. So as you go back, you'll probably feel your abdominals working. Forward and back. If you're not feeling your abdominals, my guess is you're probably back bending instead of keeping your torso flat as a board. So you want to try and keep that torso pretty flat. Your head might kind of change position as you go. But we're hinging back and forward, feeling how your pelvis can roll over your thigh bones. All right, next time you're leaning back, you're going to hold, warming up that core for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Sitting up. Let's go ahead and do some shoulder rolls. Big shoulder rolls forward. So warming up those shoulders. And big shoulder rolls back. And relaxing the shoulders, and let's take some wrist circles. So going along with that theme of being able to flex at the hips, go ahead and circle the other way. My inspiration was being able to take on and off your shoes or on or off your socks in a really functional manner or in a way that's really nice for your anatomy. So a lot of our exercises today are going to focus on that and then leveling up or making that maybe a little more challenging for your body. So thinking about here for a moment, how do you usually put on and off your shoes or socks? Are you usually sitting? Are you standing? How do you do it? So if you have socks right now or shoes on right now, you might go ahead and just do it. Take off one shoe or take off one sock or untie it and just notice, how do you do it? Do you round forward to undo it? Do you cross your ankle over your leg to do it? Do you stretch one leg to take off a sock? How do you do it? And do you do it the same on the right or on the left? And on the left. So just take a moment to do that. What are your habits? What are your bodily habits? Right, we have a whole hour, so it's okay to take a few minutes here to just notice, how do you usually move? Great. And then, if you're still taking off, that's fine. Go ahead and put them back on. Do you put them back on the same way that you take them off? Right, and if you don't have socks, you can just imagine, or don't have shoes, you can just imagine what, you're about to do it, what would you do? And do you do the same thing on the right or on the left? So oftentimes when we're doing our socks and shoes, we get a lot of this rounding or this flexing in our spine. And there's nothing particularly wrong with that, but that means we're not using some other joints that probably need to move more, like our hip joints. So we're going to work on strengthening those muscles so that we don't have to use our spine so much. So from your seated position, you're going to plant those feet. Ankles can be slightly behind the knees. And then you'll lean forward, hinge, hinge, hinge. Hands can be on the thighs, and then can you float your hips 1/2 inch off of your chair and then come back? So we're gonna do that a few times. First, you can use your hands. So let your hands help you a little bit. Hands on your legs or even arms on your armrests, but letting yourself hinge forward, flat back, so spine isn't rounding, and then lifting those hips up and coming back down. Once you get the hang of that, you're going to use no arms. So arms can come forward in front of you. You're lifting your bum 1/2 inch off the chair and then coming back down. And you're letting your spine be long, so don't let your back rack. We're waking up the backs of the legs. We also might feel your quads, and then we're really compressing here at the hip flexors. Okay, next set of challenges, you're going to come all the way up. Yeah, and all the way back down. See if you can do it without your arms. But if you need your arms, that's fine. Use your arms. If you need more challenge, mindfully grab your weights or your water bottles, and you can do it with your weights. All right, you can hold those weights up. You could also have the weights down and then bring them up. And so they're pretty lightweight, so it shouldn't make a huge difference, but it might change things. A couple more times, really having your mind on what your spine is doing, trying to keep your spine still and letting those other bigger joints in the body do this work. Right, so our spinal joints are so small. We want to let our hip joints, our knee joints, our ankles to do some of this work here. Let's do 3 more, approximately, give or take. All right, next time you're standing, we'll stay standing and grab your weights if you don't have them and let them just come by your side. Or your water bottles. And again, if you don't have weights, it's totally fine. Also welcome to do this seated if this isn't going to work for you. We're going to bend those elbows, so palms face in. We're going to bend those elbows out to the side and then come back down. And just see how you can go here. Palms are facing in, or your fingers are facing towards your body for this first variation. And only move to whatever range feels good. We should feel movement at the shoulder blade, so that flat bone on your back on both sides, as well as the arms moving within the shoulder blade. So if we're thinking about, okay, why are we doing this? If we're putting on socks, we have to do this motion, right? And sometimes if it gets stuck, we need that strength to be able to lift in this direction. Let's do 2 or 3 more. You might start to feel it in your shoulders. And then let your arms drop, a couple of shoulder rolls back. And a couple of shoulder rolls forward. Great, and then let's just give that part of our arms a little break. Let's do a set of bicep curls while we're here. giving the shoulders a break, working those biceps. You can do this either with your palms in or palms forward. So whatever feels better, or maybe alternate, right? You can do a little bit of one and then the other. Let's do about 5 more. Great, and then releasing. If your hands need a break, you can put your weights off to the side. Otherwise, you can hold onto your weights for our standing hip hinge with straight legs. So we've been doing a hip hinge with our knees bent. Now we're going to do it with our legs straight. So with the legs straight, you're going to let your arms come forward in front of the body. And again, the spine stays exactly the same as you hinge forward. The moment your hamstrings don't let you go any further, so those muscles in the back of the leg that get a really nice stretch. The moment your back wants to round, that's where you stop and then come up. And so it's not about the range, it's about actually getting the joint that we're looking to work. So here we're hinging forward, hips go back, spine stays long, arms reach down, knees and toes track straight forward, and then up. If you want to add some breath, we inhale on the way down. Exhale on the way up. A couple more times. Back of the neck is long. So what I notice oftentimes is on the way down, people look forward. So I'm going to show you what you don't want to do. You're not looking at the wall. You should be looking down at the ground when you're leaning forward. And then you look at the wall when you're standing tall. So the neck should come along for the ride. This is a great exercise to do with slightly heavier weights. So if you're ever kind of playing around at home and want to try this with heavier weights, you might do that. Let's do about 4 or 5 more. Notice, can you keep your legs straight, or do they need to bend? Are you able to, for the next few here, just keep those legs straight? We already did the hip flexion or that movement with the knees bent. Let's really try and work it with the legs straight. Just works the joint a little differently and the muscles differently. Great. All right, coming up, go ahead and put those weights down. And we're going into a brief calf stretch, into a hamstring stretch. So you might choose to have your hands on the back of your chair or find a wall. Both are great. And then step one leg back behind you and then bend your front knees. You're in a bit of a kind of a warrior one lunge, so you get a calf stretch in that back leg. So all 10 toes face forward, front knee is bent, back leg is straight. Hands can be on a chair or on a wall. And then straighten that front leg and hinge forward. Again, long spine. Can you keep your back flat? If you need more, you can always lower your hands to your thigh or to the seat of the chair if the back of the chair is too high. Right, lift your torso up, soften your front knee and step forward, back foot meets the front. And then we switch. Other leg goes back, bend your front knee, first the calf stretch. So we bend our front knee, back leg is straight, getting a stretch into the calf of your back leg. And then straighten out that front leg. And hinge forward. Again, you decide where you go. Hands can be on the back of the chair, on the seat of the chair, on your leg. Enjoy these few stretches before we move on to some balancing. and then coming up. So just like we did in seated, we sort of mimicked how, or we took on and off our socks or shoes to see how we do it. Let's imagine now you're standing, you don't have somewhere to sit. Please be safe, so don't hurt yourself. How would you take on and off your shoes if you had to do this either standing, sitting on the ground? Would you hold on to a chair to try and do it? Just think about it, or try it. Or would you bend forward? Notice what is the habit your body has to try and make that happen. And go ahead and, if it's safe, go ahead and do it, or do it on one foot at least, and see, okay, do I do the same thing on the right and the left? Do I use a wall? Do I have this urge to sit? Right, the way we habitually move our body sometimes tells us a lot about the tension lines in our body, or sometimes there's pain associated, so you tend to want to move in a certain way. So just notice, okay, what was my method? Great. And now, standing, one hand on the chair or on a wall. We're going to stand strong on one leg, lift the other leg up. Now we're going to find that hip flexion again. So that movement of the hips, see how high you can go. How high can you go without tucking your tail under and rounding your back? And then maybe you can reach. Can you reach for your ankle? How far down can you reach without rounding your back? There's a point, right? For me, I can't go any further without wanting to round my back. Maybe you reach with one hand, maybe you reach with both, right? If you have that flexibility. And go ahead and release. And then let's try the other side. If you want, you can turn around so your other hand is on the chair or on the wall. Otherwise, just stay where you are. Same thing. Standing on the other leg, lift your hip. How far can you go? How high up? Can you reach for your ankle? Can you reach for your foot? And just notice, okay, what's the hard part here? Is it the standing on the leg, or is it the lifting of the leg? All right, and bring it down, shake it off. Now we're gonna lift the leg slightly differently. So you're gonna lift the leg. So we'll go back to the first side. So just make sure you switch so that you don't get too tired. Lift your leg up, and now turn the leg out. So the knee goes out, the foot goes in. And then start to reach towards your foot, right? Maybe you're reaching just at your calf. Maybe you're reaching at your knee. Maybe you get your ankle. Notice how far down can you go? What's the limiting factor? Does your spine want to round? Does your hip get stuck? Is it your balance? And bring it down, shake it off. Woo. And then we'll try the other side. So lifting the other leg up, turn it out. So knee goes out, foot goes in. So we're externally rotating. And again, we're reaching towards the foot. What's the limiting factor? So oftentimes it's the hips. And that's why we round our back to get there. But see, how far can I go without rounding my back? Noticing the limitation at the hip instead of masking that limitation with the spine. Okay, and then release. Shake it off, shake it off. Good work, everybody. Let's give that a little bit of a break. We'll go back to our arms. So grabbing your weights, if you'd like, just be mindful on how you grab them. Unrelated to putting on socks, unless maybe you have socks in a drawer really high up. We're gonna push our hands up towards the ceiling and back down. So this can be quite tiring, overhead presses. So if it gets too tiring, get rid of the weights, no problem. Or you can alternate one arm and then the other. Your arms aren't going directly over your head, they're going slightly forward, right? So they're mostly going overhead, but they're slightly forward. So if you're seeing me from the profile, I'm not back here because that really puts a lot of pressure on this spine. You want to go slightly forward. Nice control. Oh, my shoulders are burning. Let's do a couple more. Two more. Okay, and release. Mindfully put those weights off to the side. Shake off those arms. Okay, and then we're going to take our legs nice and wide. Toes can point slightly out, heels are in. We're going to bend the knees into this really wide squat. So just go as deep as is comfortable, right? So it might just be 2 inches that feels best on your knees. Maybe it's a foot down and then up. So just go up and down. You want to add some breath. We inhale on the way down, exhale on the way up. So here we're feeling that flexion of the hips again, but now our thighs are rotated in a different direction. So they're not straight forward, they're slightly out to the side. Just a few more. All right, and then heel toe your feet back towards each other. One last standing exercise. Finding your hands either on your chair, on a table, or on a wall. Going to stand strong on the right leg and bend the left knee back behind you. So notice my knees are going to stay right next to each other as the left leg goes back. So the left knee doesn't come forward. So now we're opening the front of the hip. Let's give it a nice stretch. Left knee bends as much as it can. Heel towards the glutes without changing the position of your pelvis. So notice, does this happen? An arching of the back, right? I don't want the back to get involved here, at least today, right? Our focus is the hips. So as you bend the knee, we're trying not to move the hips here, pulling the heel towards your glutes, trying not to move your spine. You might get a little hamstring cramp. You might feel a stretch in the front of your left thigh. Go ahead and release. And then we'll switch. So standing on the left leg, bend the right knee. Right knee stays next to the left. So right knee doesn't slide forward. So we're not now flexing at the hip. Right heel moves towards the glutes. Your back doesn't bend or arch. The back stays exactly the same as when the foot was down as when it comes up. So you might feel some muscles working in the back of the leg, some muscles stretching in the front of the leg. All right, and release. Shake it off. And then we'll have a seat. All right, we're going to stretch into our glutes now. We'll cross the right ankle over the left thigh. So several options if this is hard. So as you bring your right ankle over your left thigh, if you're going, oh my gosh, this is really challenging, then you want to lift your seat up higher. So you can place a pillow or several pillows or some books on your chair to lift you higher and then bring your leg. If that is still not working, keep going higher and higher. If that's still not working, see if you can cross your legs instead, or cross your ankles and allow your knee to open out wide. So I'll say that again because I said that kind of quickly. If elevating your hips doesn't work to cross the ankle over the thigh, then you can cross your thighs or you can cross your ankles. Now, if you're in this position and you're going, okay, I could go for a little bit more, notice what your bottom leg is doing. So oftentimes what we do to avoid the stretch is we move that bottom leg at an angle instead of having it straight up and down. So heel toe that left foot so that that left ankle is directly underneath the left knee. And that will already increase some of that stretch in the glute area and the hip, deep hip rotators. And then from here, you can stay seated tall, or feel free to hinge a little bit forward. And when you come forward, be free to explore. So you might decide you want to lean a little to the right or to the left. to change the intensity of the stretch. And then go ahead and lift your torso up if you're leaning forward, undo the legs, shake them off. And we'll go to the other side. So other ankle crosses over the thigh. Same options. You can play with the height of your seat. So you can elevate with lots of pillows. Sometimes you require like 4 or 5 pillows or some blocks to really give you that height so you can get into this position. Otherwise, if that's really not working, you can cross those thighs or you can cross your ankles and allow that front leg to really turn out. We're trying to find that motion, that rotation in the leg. Also notice, is your bottom leg at an angle? That shin, that lower bone, is it at an angle? And if so, can you heel toe that leg until the ankle is directly underneath the knee? That way you're getting that full expression, that full stretch. Of course, if that's not possible, then it's okay. But we're noticing those ways that our body tries to adjust so that we don't get into the stretch because it can be intense or challenging. You can stay upright. You're also welcome to lean forward. If you're leaning forward, you can be still in the center, or you can let yourself lean a little right, a little left, noticing how that changes the stretch. Hold for another couple of breaths. And go ahead and come on up. Undo those legs, shake it off. Remove those pillows if you decided to sit up on some pillows, or just put them back just so that you're not slipping and sliding as we do a little retest. So at the beginning, we were really checking that hip flexion, or that movement of your pelvis on the thighs and the thighs on the pelvis. So I want you to go ahead and hinge forward again without moving the shape of the spine or changing the shape of the spine. And notice, how far can you go now? So after we've stretched out, strengthened, is there maybe a little bit more range? Maybe, maybe not. You're just noticing. Just do it a few times. And then next time you're sitting tall, we'll check the other direction. So thigh moving towards the chest. Did that change? Again, without changing the shape of the spine. Right, it may or may not. So for me, I'm not feeling much difference in this direction. I felt it a lot more with the hinging forward, but everyone's different. Next time one leg is up, you're just going to hold, see what that position is. How high can it go? Can it go up another inch without changing the shape of the spine? Is this easier, harder, different from the first time you tried this? Bring it down. Other leg comes up, and again, hold. Maybe you can lift it up a little bit higher without changing the shape of the spine. And release. And let's windshield wiper those knees a little side to side. So just shaking it off, letting it go. All right, so knees stay tracking straight forward. Let's rotate our spine. So twist one direction. Hands can be on your leg or on your chair. Hold for a few moments. Couple of deep breaths, soft shoulders. And then other direction, twist. And back to center. Wrap your hands around one of your knees or shin, pull the leg up. Let's take some ankle circles. Circle the other way. Releasing the foot and switching sides, grabbing hold of your other knee or shin, pulling the leg up, taking some circles. Other direction. Great, releasing the foot down. Let's inhale, circle the arms out to the side and then up towards the ceiling, reaching tall. Exhale, flip those palms to face down, push the air down. Inhale, we circle those arms out and up. Exhale, we flip the palms and push the air. Couple more times at your own pace. So don't worry about my speed, move at your own pace. Imagining that the air is maybe a little heavy, that you really have to work to push through the air. You're welcome to do this standing as well if that feels better on your body. Couple more. There's no rush or hurry. But next time your arms are up to the sky, we'll pause. Bring your palms to touch and let your hands lower to your heart, towards your chest. Pause here for a moment and take a second to really thank yourself for showing up today to take care of your mind and your body. And also thank yourself for showing up for everyone else here. Without you, this class is not possible. So each and every one of you is an important piece. Great, thank you everybody. So wonderful to have you today. I want to open it up to some questions in a moment, but before that, I'd like to share the move of the week. So you're going to want to remember this move for not next week, not yoga, but the week after for functional fitness. We did this move twice, and it's ankle circles. So remembering ankle circles, maybe trying to incorporate ankle circles throughout your week, maybe write it down so that you remember. And I'll ask you, so in 2 weeks, what the move, the functional fitness move of the week was, and that's ankle circles.
Well, thank you. And, we want to keep these conversations going, and we're inviting you to our Facebook group. If you're on Facebook, you can check us out here. We have the link in the chat, and we also have the link included in your email. So I'd love to see you there too. And, as always, if there's any questions that you have for GoGo, just about our services, you can call this number. You can also always reply back to the emails that are coming to you about events if you need any help with anything. So that concludes today's session, unless anybody else feels like sharing anything.
Thank you very much. Ashe.
Thank you very much. All right, fabulous. Well, I hope everyone has a great rest of their week, and I hope to catch you next Wednesday.
Thank you.
Bye, and thanks again, Idra.
Bye.
Bye-bye. See you.